The second last game in this year's Rugby World Cup will be New Zealand versus Wales in the third place playoff. Stick around for the team lineups and my thoughts. Welcome back to SkinnyBru Rugby, guys, and it is the third place playoff this weekend with the unlikely All Blacks going up against Wales. In all honesty, the All Blacks was completely outplayed by England last weekend, who actually ended the All Blacks' 18-game winning streak in a World Cup. Wales, they had a tight game versus South Africa and eventually lost by 3 at the end to a penalty. The semi-final was both teams' first loss of the World Cup. The All Blacks seriously were contenders to actually win this trophy, while Wales, they just seemed to hang in there throughout the competition. So the All Blacks has to be favourites here. Wales might be a little bit scared of the All Blacks coming out and having a serious backlash, or maybe they hope the All Blacks are a little bit down and out and maybe just want to go home after that defeat to England. The last time Wales beat New Zealand was back in 1953, and since then New Zealand have won 30 games against Wales. It is the longest winning streak over any Tier 1 nation. The most recent game between the two sides, Wales lost to New Zealand 18-33. Before I get into the teams, remember to subscribe if you do like the content and hit the like button. Let's get into it. Both coaches made a bunch of changes for this one. Up front for New Zealand, Moody, Coles, who comes in for Taylor, and Laulala. The New Zealanders still have a 100% winning record on their own scrum in the Rugby World Cup, so they'll try and continue that one. Wales, they have Smith, Owens and Lewis, with Jones dropping to the bench, the most notable one there. They have been strong, but it's going to be a difficult one to go up against the strong New Zealand front pack. In the locks, Retallick, he is still not at his best yet, but he is showing glimpses of it every now and then when he pops up in his places and just runs 20-30 meters with the ball. Scott Barrett, he is back in his preferred position after playing flanker last weekend, and I think that might have been the biggest issue in the New Zealand side in the semi-final. They didn't have someone fetching the ball, and that backfired a little bit to them because they wanted to aim to playing the line-outs, getting more ball from the line-out, and that didn't work so well for them. So Scott Barrett, he would want to prove himself in this one. For Wales, they have Beard, who comes in for Faf's dancing partner Jake Ball, who is on the bench, and Alan Wynne-Jones, who will become the second most capped player in history. I think it is 143 caps right now. This could be a big challenge for New Zealand, especially with how Alan Wynne-Jones have just been really impressive in that facet of play with lineouts, and they are really just gonna try and challenge them at this aspect again after New Zealand failed to produce the goods last weekend. At number 6 for New Zealand, they bring in Frizzell. At 7, Kane, he isn't omitted again from the side, and then Reid, he is set to play his last All Blacks game, and he would want to get a victory in this one. The trio, they are mostly fetchers with Frizzell and Kane, and they will really contest at the rucks, making it hard for Wales. For Wales, they have Tipperick and Davies, Moriarty as well. They are more of a traditional balanced trio. They don't have two fetchers on the side really, so they will have their hands full in this one. It might be a difficult day for them at ruck time, but they will be more balanced all over the park. Then we go to the backlines. In the New Zealand backline, there is this theme of a final swan song. There's a lot of players playing their final game for the All Blacks. But at 9-10, it is the unchanged Aaron Smith and Mahunga. They looked a little bit out of it last weekend. They lacked a little bit of attacking threat against England, so they'll try and bounce back from that. Wales, they have a combo that is usually on the bench, and fans have been asking for them to actually start. So it is Williams, who is exciting at number 9, and then Patchell, who is rock solid with the boot. As a South African last weekend when he came on against the Springboks, I was pretty stressed when he came on. He's just very dangerous, can get those drop goals in and can get long range penalties, so he is quite dangerous. He is in for bigger. For New Zealand in the centres, they have the final game for Sonny Bill Williams, and he is joined by Crotty. Sonny Bill Williams has proved himself in this tournament, and he is so dangerous with those offloads. He can still do what he does best. He's not at the best that he's ever been, but he can still outperform most centers. For Wales, they have another change in the side. Watkin coming in from the bench. He is joined by Davies, who is the dangerous player in the Wales backline. The last few games he hasn't stood out really. He was injured a bit, so I think that was weighing a bit on him, but I think he might bounce back now. The centers of Wales have a massive task at hand. The other centers can really cut through the line if they want to, and if they are not properly watched. Out wide for New Zealand, they have Ioane. He's going to want to prove what he can still do in the side, that he is still a prolific try scorer. And then Ben Smith also brought into the side for his final game, and you have to feel a little bit for him, often really just being underutilized in the World Cup. Look, there's a lot of pressure in that All Black side, but you would want to have seen him a little bit more in his final year for the All Blacks. And then Beauden Barrett, who is still the standout player in that back line. For Wales, they have the top scoring Adams in the side, and then they have two changes in the form of Lanes and Amos. The New Zealand bench is pretty strong. They have Coltman, the GOAT, Molly, Ta'avao, and then Tuipulotu. And then they have Todd Webber, who just brings some energy to the side when coming on. Anton Leonard-Brown, very strong centre, can play both inside and outside. And then Jordie Barrett, who can slot in anywhere in the whole back line. Then Wales, they have D, Carr, and then Jones, Ball, Shingler, Davies, Bigger, who is actually the number 10 in the side. He's being dropped to the bench. And then Parks. After looking at the teams, you have to say, even with all the changes that has happened, the All Blacks still does have the strongest side in this game. If you go through the facets of play and you want to compare how the teams will dominate each facet, at scrum time, New Zealand has been rock solid so far. Wales, they were also struggling a bit every now and then versus South Africa last weekend. So I think New Zealand will win this facet of play. Lineouts, New Zealand will try and prove themselves after misfiring a bit last weekend against England. Wales, they are strong in this department. In fact, they broke South Africa's 100% lineout record for the tournament. So this could be pretty even and a pretty interesting battle to view. Loose forwards, rucks for New Zealand. They could dominate it with having two fetchers on the side. But Wales, they have a loose forward that is different. It's a different combination. They will work kind of all over the park. So it's going to be difficult to really judge the loose forwards against each other. 9-10 combo. New Zealand's combo are more settled in with Aaron Smith and Mohunga. They were under pressure to perform last weekend, so they will want to prove themselves this weekend as well. Centers, New Zealand also have the upper hand with Sunnyball Williams and Crotty. Very experienced. They can break through the line by themselves. They can pass. They can take it out wide. So it's pretty dangerous there. It's going to be difficult for Wales to tame them. Out wide, Wales had to make two changes in the side, and they only have Adams left. He is the top scorer in the competition, but if you take the three as a whole, the trio as a whole, New Zealand has the upper hand with Ioane, Smith and Beauden Barrett. All considered, I think the All Blacks will want to prove themselves and have a massive game and just give it their all against Wales and just prove what they could have done. I think the All Blacks are actually going to have a bigger margin than you would have expected. I think the All Blacks will win by 19. Guys, if you did like that video, please hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate it. If you want to check out any of my other videos, they will be here next to me. And then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.